Greetings. God is within you. In this short video, I wish to discuss the highest estate of the mystical life, the estate of the perfect, or the adulthood of the mystical life, in order to distinguish two moments of this estate of the perfect, namely, union with God and oneness with God. Now, the soul's ascent to God soars beyond union with God and ends in oneness with God. Union is a joining together or a coming together of separate entities, and in its perfection may be considered a blending, which still implies a merger or a combination of separate entities. Oneness, however, implies no such presence of separate entities, while it is the profound dawning of oneness with God, which the soul experiences in its ever deeper emergence into divinity, in its ever ascendant rise into perfection following upon perfection. The empirical evidence of this to the soul comes in the estates of union, which are more and more clearly defined to the soul in the upper estates of perfection, union which leads inexorably into oneness. What then are the estates of union, and how do we clarify them and distinguish them experientially and existentially from oneness? Phenomenologically speaking, there are three estates of union with God, namely ecstasy, rapture, and transport. First, therefore, ecstasy is the soul's simplest state of union with God, as defined in the way of the proficient in the mystical life. This age of spiritual youth finds God frequently touching the soul and arousing a superlative sweetness in the senses, which abstracts the mind and heart from earthly concerns and centers them deeply upon God, while the soul remains in the waking state and still more or less engaged with the world and the activities of daily life. But this divine touch upon the soul, which is ecstasy, constitutes a true and profound union of God and the soul. It is, in fact, an overflow upon the body of the sweetness of divine grace which is given to the soul. For nothing is given to the body by God which is not first given to the soul, and which is not infused into the senses from the soul, from the spirit. Second, rapture is the soul's more profound state of union with God, as defined in the age of the proficient, or the soul which is making progress in the mystical spiritual life. The soul's progress in the mystical life is made evident to it through rapture, for God thus reveals to the soul its election in divine love, showering the soul with moments of passing union which spirit the soul away into God, at first by force and progressively ever more gently and easily, as the soul grows more and more attuned to the divine touch. Third, transport is the soul's even more profound and superb state of union with God, as defined in the age of the perfect, or the soul which has become adult and fully mature in the mystical life. Here, in the age of the perfect, raptures become less and less frequent as the soul lives a long life in this spiritual marriage, when raptures are not required to make known to the soul its union with God. In this estate of the perfect, raptures are replaced by transports into God, which are extremely easy ascents of the soul in very lofty flights into the divine terrain or the sea of God, which inhabits the soul. Now, ecstasy, rapture, and transport are each instances of passing union with God, which are passively received in the soul and which the soul cannot produce on its own. But these moments of union are given to the soul by God, while nothing that the soul does can bring them about. And as one becomes more and more perfect in divine union, ecstasy and rapture tend to disappear and are replaced by transport into God. In the highest reaches of the estate of the perfect, even transport tends to disappear and is replaced by the soul's ever-deepening knowledge of its oneness with God. This oneness of the soul and God is affirmed to the soul at the very beginning of the way of the perfect, although the soul does not realize it as yet, nor the profound degree of perfection which it has attained. But this is revealed to the soul as time passes, and the soul sees ever more clearly that it is itself, quite simply, the light of life, which is God. This is apparent to it in the light of grace, the living fire of love, which inhabits the soul from the beginning of its entrance into perfection. The soul progressively realizes that this fire of love, this all-consuming fire which inhabits it and springs from the root of its existence in the center of its nature and manifested to it as the fiery light of the life of God within it, is simply itself, constantly, perpetually, unendingly emerging into God, being born in God, while its birth and birthing is the divine light of life itself, which the soul has become and is becoming and simply is. God and the soul are no longer in union. They have become one. Thank you so much for watching, and please be so kind as to like, share, and subscribe. Be forever blessed in the profound knowledge that God is within you. Thank you so much.